I'd like to call to order the regular board meeting for the Essexville-Hampton Public Schools. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Hearing.
Here.
Levine.
Here.
Maraski.
Yes.
Gordon. O'Neill.
Here.
Russia.
Here.
Sandsburg.
Here.
6 present.
The next is that we need the approval for the agenda as presented.
I will motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Nearing.
Yes.
Levine.
Yes.
Maraski.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Russia.
Yes.
Sandsburg.
Yes.
6 yes.
Any statements from board members at this time?
Just a heads up, the Garber Activities Association is holding a bowling tournament in January. So it's a super fun activity, raises money, it's very fun. They have payout prizes, it's tournament style. So if you would like to get a team together, I know they still have spots available. It's a really good time. So something to consider.
Anyone else? Any statements from the superintendent?
Thank you, Mr. President. December, just a few recognitions. Starting with December is the month where we celebrate and recognize Universal Human Rights Month, which ties very nicely with our Duke values, in particular respect and kindness. And our community has a long and rich history of taking care of our neighbors, whether it's from Project Duke Angel Tree to the Duke Can Do program. That's just something that we do here in Essexville-Hampton schools. Want to encourage folks to think about organizations such as the United Way, Bay Area's Women's Center, which supports women who are survivors of domestic violence, and Good Samaritan Rescue Mission, which does a lot of work to support folks who are experiencing homelessness, especially during these cold months, as just some local organizations that do great work in supporting universal human rights here locally. So we really don't have to look too far when we think about universal human rights. I recently came across the Robert and Ann Hatchell Theater at the Bay County Historical Society, which does a lot of great work in documenting and sharing just some of our region's history with things like human rights. And so I would just encourage folks to check out the Bay County Historical Society. I think it'll be a great activity for students and families to do over the winter break. So as we prepare for the holiday season, I just want to encourage everyone to continue to model kindness and respect, and the fact that we all, despite our differences, have this shared humanity. December also recognizes on December 2nd National Special Education Day. And so here in our district, about 8% of our students, or approximately 108 students, all qualify or receive special education services. And I want to extend my sincere appreciation for the folks who provide services to these amazing and talented students. Our special education staff at Bush, we have Ms. Melody Martin at Varela, Mr. Joe Currier, here at Kramer, Ms. Jennifer Wall, Ms. Lori Newkirk, and Ms. Kelsey Fenton, and at Garber, Ms. Allison Savage and Ms. Tanya Bowler, who's also the president of our teachers union. All of these amazing special education teachers and paraprofessionals and support staff make a profound difference in the lives of our students who receive special education services. To those students, your unique skills and talents inspire us. To the families of these students, Thank you for your partnership, your advocacy, and the trust you place in us to serve your very special students. December 2nd is marked as National Special Education Day because it recognizes when the IDEA law came into act in 1975. And so this is just an opportunity for us to acknowledge and recognize and celebrate all of our district students, regardless of their ability and unique needs. Here at Essexville-Hampton Public Schools, we have the supports in place to make sure that they can grow and thrive and fulfill their God-given potential. December, in particular on December 5th, is International Volunteers Day. And so thank you to all the amazing volunteers across our district. So many parents, community members volunteer each and every day to help our district operate. I want to recognize a special group of volunteers, our Board of Education. Most folks don't know this, but our board, this is a labor of love. They all volunteer. So although they are elected, they show up every day. What they do is more than what you see at these monthly board meetings. There are all these other meetings. They respond to all my text messages and emails and phone calls. They come to visit classrooms. There's just so much they do, but they are volunteers. So thank you to our 7 board members who volunteer. And as we get ready for the holidays and celebrate this season of giving and generosity and humanity, I would strongly encourage our students and families, if they're looking for something to do over the winter break, please volunteer with one of our local organizations, and I've listed a few here. To All Inc., which is located right here in Essexville on Center Street. Brian's House, of course. Plenty of dog and animal lovers in our district, so by all means volunteer with either the Bay County Animal Shelter or the Humane Society. And if you're just interested in other volunteer opportunities, you can check out michiganvolunteers.org to see plenty of volunteer opportunities during the winter break. Volunteering not only is an act of giving, but it builds community. So please, it's something great you can do during the winter break. December, during the week of this week, actually the 8th through the 12th, is also National Inclusive Schools Week. And it's just an opportunity for us to recognize and embrace just how unique each of us are and how our uniqueness adds to the tapestry and the mosaic of our school district. So our district and community shines brightest when we all embrace our differences. And I want to thank all of our staff, our teachers, our administrators who go above and beyond to foster schools that support inclusion and make sure that all students and families feel a sense of belongingness. So not just for this week and the month of December, but throughout the year, let's continue to celebrate, recognize, and embrace our uniqueness, our diversity, the things that make us our unique selves, and spread kindness and lift each other up. And finally, also this week in the month of December is National Computer Science Education Week. Our district is at the forefront of computer science and technology. I want to give a huge shout out to Madison Krakowski, who is Garber's student chief science officer. A couple weeks ago, she already reached out to me, eager to plan the 4th annual STEM night here in our district. I want to also recognize the many staff who play a part in making sure that STEM continues to be at the forefront of what we do as a district, in particular here at Kramer, Dr. David Gruber, at Garber, Mr. Steve Stein, who is leading our partnership with Central Michigan University to implement virtual reality in his anatomy class. It's really cool. I had the opportunity to visit that class a month or so ago. They put the VR goggles on me and I could see and feel and touch the human brain and the human heart using virtual reality. And it's just really cool innovation work. Again, we are at the forefront in terms of technology and computer science. I also want to shout out all the amazing parents and community partners who support the computer science and technology work that we are doing here in our district, in particular the Robo Alliance group. I met with that group of about a dozen or so parents a couple weeks ago. They do an awesome job of supporting Mr. Ethan Shannon and the robotics program. For those of you who don't know, our robotics team at Garber is an amazing award-winning robotics team, and they're really paving the way for our junior high and elementary robotics programs. This past weekend, our 4th graders and 5th grade robotics teams participated in an event at Freeland High School. Again, just to continue being on the forefront of technology and computer science, one of the things you'll probably hear about this evening during the committee reports from the Buildings and Grounds Committee Chair, I believe will provide a quick update on phase 1 of our Center for Innovation and Community Education that we still believe is on track to being built by the time we get to next summer. So not just for this week, but for the rest of the month, the rest of the year, let's continue to celebrate, recognize imagination, innovation, and the endless possibilities as a result of computer science and technology and that work that's being done here in our district. And those are remarks from the superintendent, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Dr. Lewis. Any statements from the public pertaining to the agenda? Moving on to our consent agenda, item F. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Levine.
Yes.
Marowski.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Rusho.
Yes.
Nearing.
Yes.
Sandsberg.
Yes.
6 yes.
Welcome, Mr. Shaw.
Thank you.
Next is committee reports, and we're going to begin with the Garber student representative.
Hi, this month is full of fun things. With sports, winter sports are finally underway. Basketball, wrestling, swim, bowling, cheer have all started their season. Students are showing up with great energy. Teams are getting comfortable with their schedules and building momentum. Clubs and activities. Clubs have been really active this month. The student council is planning our upcoming charity week, which this week we're actually finding the charity we'll be donating to. That week will include our winter formal and a lot of fun activities leading into it. There will also be a winter severe week and bake sales. SLS is starting to sell candygrams and participating in the angel tree. Along with student council, spent the day decorating our whole school for the holidays.
Okay, so for NHS, we're doing a charity event. So it's a silent auction. Every student put in $25 to donate a basket, and it's all online. And all the proceeds go to Garber to help like revamp all like the programs, like the car care program, wood shop, like things that always don't get as much attention. Make sure to buy mine. It was Reese's Peanut Butter Cup themed. And for academically, students are starting to study for midterms, and SATs are coming up in May, so very, very nerve-wracking. That's okay. And yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you.
Great.
Any questions for our student reps? Moving on, the next one is the Building and Grounds Committee. Mr. Morosky is our chair, but Mr. O'Neill took some copious notes and share that breakdown.
The Buildings and Grounds Committee had a wide discussion, especially on the what's the Center for Innovation and Community Engagement. It used to be called the STEM Center. The construction documents were sent to Michigan. We have to submit them before the 25th, and it's about 1 to 3 months before the state comes back to us. So we can't pour concrete for that building until then.
The design is getting finalized. The initial costs were a little bit higher than what we had anticipated. So we are working right now with the bid process and things of that nature to make sure that we have the right financials in place for that. Right now, it looks as if we're going to have some kind of a building up by August. So that's our goal right now. And the plans have been in place with the help of Ethan Shannon. So that is still ongoing as it is right now. We have a vacant lot that is at the corner of Hampton and Jones. We had it appraised back in 1989, and we've kind of directed the superintendent to sell it for whatever we can get for it. The committee agreed to that. We had the replacement of the scoreboards for the football and baseball diamonds. The cost for it is in our budget right now. The excess of it is going to be raised by the sports community. So that should not be a problem. What else? Dr. Lewis is creating some administrative guidelines for naming and rights in commemoration for not only the scoreboards that are going to be up there, but any other thing that we can figure out as far as the district goes. Golf came before us and wants a little practice space outside the right field's baseball diamond, I guess it is. Is that correct? I can't remember yet. So, and they want to put some cement in there and get a practice space for us, which is badly needed. And we had a large discussion about looking at Little Saints and whether or not that is a possible acquisition for us to put our overflow and our burgeoning kindergarten and other things going on down there. So that's about what we discussed.
Anyone else want to add to that or questions? All right, thank you. Next up is our Policy and Procedure Committee meeting. Ms. Levine?
We met on Friday last week and had a lot to discuss actually for policy and procedure. So school board members, we're looking, first of all, we went to the Neola board policy updates. Those are fairly straightforward with recommendations from Neola regarding like the non-discrimination policy, parent opt-out policies, equal opportunity employment, just updating the language and making sure everything is consistent with what the state wants with laws. So not a lot of changes with the Neola policies. Later on in our meeting, we'll have an adoption just to bring that language up to speed. We'll have a vote for that. So something to think about. So Neola versus Truan for future board policy management. We talked a lot about that, and if we want to look to streamline our policies with Truan. And there are a number of reasons that we may do that or not do that, so kind of put that in the back of your mind to think about for springtime. A few questions that came up with that are how are the updates handled? Neola does a really good job keeping us abreast of new changes and making sure our policies are right up to speed. Does Truan offer those same policies? What support do they get? And if we decided to move away from Neola to Truan, what would that conversion process look like? So there's a few questions that we need to research a little bit before we do that, but just kind of keep that in the back of your mind as we get into spring. The new administrative guidelines. So administrative guidelines are separate from our policies. Currently, they're not listed on our website, but we went through a number of things. There's a hiring manual that was started by Superintendent Ralston that Superintendent Lewis is trying to finish that up, modifying that, getting it up to par. So we have a very clean outline to follow when we bring new employees into the district. School closures, a lot of things that were listed for us to look at in our board packet. So good discussion there. Head lice was one we spent some time on. So we're gonna move to that a little bit. Hiring process for athletic coaches was discussed just to make sure everybody's on the same page. They're getting paid as they should be and moving things along with background checks are done in a timely manner and that everyone is onboarded in the same manner. And then lastly, thank you to Julia Tao for all of her work on the annual REP certification. REP stands for the Registry of Education Personnel. So she's going through and making sure that every person that comes into contact with their school, whether it's a substitute teacher, a facilities director, an assistant coach, that they're all on this list so we make sure everyone is up to date and reported to the state as needed to be. So thank you for all of your hard work on that. I think that was about it.
Anyone else and anything further with that? Questions? Mr. Nearing, Finance.
Yes, thank you. The Finance Committee met earlier today to discuss several items. The first item that we discussed was the 31AA funding. If you remember, at our last board meeting, our board adopted a resolution to opt in to the 31AA mental health funding from the state of Michigan. There are several districts that are pursuing a lawsuit against the state of Michigan through two different law firms with some action for this fund and the kind of the opt-in or out clause. They have until December 30th to make their decision. Regardless of that conclusion, we are not part of those lawsuits. We've decided to opt in. So when the December 30th rolls around, we'll be able to determine the actual funding that we will get when those districts have to make their final decision about opting in or out. Maria has included the base amount for that funding in the budget amendment that we're going to be seeing and voting on later. The funding will not be lower than that amount, but depending on the amount of districts that opt out of the funding, that funding could go up based on that number as well too. So the schools have until December 30th to decide if they want to opt out, depending on how that legislation or those lawsuits go as well too. We talked about potential bond proposal if we were to choose to go for a bond proposal sometime in 2026. If we would like to use the qualified or non-qualified bond proposal, the one that we previously went with was a non-qualified bond proposal. There are differences based on credit worthiness of the district and the requirements that you would have to go through with the state of Michigan and how quickly you could get that bond proposal in front of the voters. So we just had a good discussion about that. Nothing that the board has to decide on yet. But like I said, the previous proposal that we did was a non-qualified proposal, and through our discussions, I think the entire finance committee would be leaning towards using the non-qualified approach again if we decided to go with a bond in sometime next year as well too. But we would have to make that determination formally when we got to that stage. Maria presented the 2026 budget amendments that we'll be voting on later in this agenda. So she'll talk us through those, and then we'll have to vote on that. And then we also had a discussion about the possible acquisition of Little Saints and ways that we can fund that as well too, if that were to come to fruition as well.
Anyone else? Anything?
Mr. President?
Yes.
Just a quick clarification, we are not voting on the amended budget this evening.
Correct.
That would just, it's a first read.
First read.
So if we do vote, it would be at the January meeting.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Just a quick question. With a bond proposal, there's a parent committee also, right? Was that?
Well, I think that we had, for the bond, we had a group that was like a bond support group that was out there kind of championing the bond as well.
And Dr. Lewis, did you do a second bond committee, or is that a plan to potentially do that as we get closer to?
Both. So when we made the decision not to try for a bond last month, November's election, I did consult with the last bond committee. And we also put out a call for volunteers, and we had about 48 parents, students and staff who said that they would be interested in being on a bond committee if we were to pursue a future bond. So if we were to decide to go after a bond in August of 2026, at that point I would activate that group of 48 folks who registered on that survey and move forward with them to support the effort. The discussion this evening was just preliminary, behind the scenes, if we were to decide what would be the best option, but we didn't get into how much the bond or what the bond would cover. It was just for us to get a sense of what would be the easier route, qualified versus not qualified.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that no one misunderstands that we haven't done anything yet without engaging the community or anything like that.
Okay.
Is there different qualified versus not qualified, or just two ways of obtaining the bond, kind of the application process, and how kind of in advance do you need to start planning for them? Do you need to go through the state for a qualified, or do it kind of on your own getting non-qualified?
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, next item H is why most of you are here today for the student showcase. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. McMurray.
Policies are very exciting.
I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Moreno.
All right. Did you guys want to come down here with me? This one helps you not to worry from it. You can stand up here and then we can play it, you know. Okay. Come back down. Good enough, finish. All right, so good evening and thank you for allowing us to attend and showcase some of our amazing things that are going on here at Kramer. If you remember, last year we showed you our brain break video, which was mainly created by Cameron Zavara, and then our students had like small components that they would add into it. But this year, led by our talented Mr. McMartin, he oversees these students and they meet with him once a day, first hour, and they work on our, now it's called Next Up at Kramer. So our SLT team came up with that new name. We sent out some options to our students, giving them some choices of some different names that we came up with, and that was the one that got the most popular votes. They even created their own like little logo and everything. So we have with us Kinsley Finiger, if you remember her from last year. We have Ethan Howell, Elijah Badro, and we also have Calvin White. So they're very talented. They work extremely hard at this, some of them even at home, outside of school hours, to put together this video that our students are thrilled to watch every single week. They watch it during their homeroom class or their advisory class, and I'm honestly just blown away by their talent and how they're tying things in with our Duke values, but also with relevant things that are going on, different topics. For instance, one of our videos was about like disabilities and like World Down Syndrome Day, so they've even did like a Hispanic Heritage video. So they are just doing an outstanding job. And even bonus, it's free. I mean, they're learning from it, but we're also, because we were honestly paying for the other created videos before, so they are getting a lot of, knowledge from this and experience. We're gonna even start incorporating some of our 7th grade students so that way they can kind of prepare them as they sadly leave us to Garber. But we're really thankful for them, and I'm gonna turn it over to them, and you'll see how they tie all this together with our Duke values of perseverance, respect, responsibility, kindness, and integrity. And so we're just grateful for them, so I'm gonna turn it over to them.
Good evening, Essexville-Hampton School Board members. I'm Kinsley.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Elijah.
And I'm Calvin. We're the student hosts of Next Up at Kramer.
Each week, with direction from Ms. McMartin, our student production team writes, edits, designs, and films the entire episode ourselves. We meet during first hour and sometimes even a working lunch to make it happen. Every student involved has its own unique role.
We start by building a script, including important school news, our deep download updates, fun activities, and interviews. Then we film everything in different parts of the building, using green screens, multiple cameras, microphones, and professional lighting.
We take turns directing, acting in skits, editing, and filming. It's amazing to see each week our ideas come to life.
Each week also includes a message from a staff member, a student of the week who exemplifies our Duke values, as well as a kindness 101 or a professional video segment to tie back to what matters most.
The episode you're about to see, episode 12, is focused on gratitude.
You ready to roll? Yep. All right. We'll clear out your way so you guys can see it.
Good job, guys.
Okay, who put this giant Joe on the desk?
That's the gratitude point. I heard every time you say one thing you're grateful for, you're a point.
And whoever has the most points by Thanksgiving break gets the last slice of pumpkin pie in the teacher's lounge.
Challenge accepted. I'm grateful for the Kramer community, my awesome teachers, and warm socks coming straight from the dryer.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Rapid fire gratitude? Is that even allowed?
I'm grateful for Lake Studs, pizza sticks, and when the vending machine actually drops a snack.
I'm grateful for my friends and that I didn't forget deodorant today.
Alright, dears. Before we start turning this into an emotional TED talk, let's jump into episode 12 at Next Up at Kramer.
3, 2,
It's gratitude week here at Kramer. The perfect time to appreciate the big things, the small things, and everything in between. And to help us start on the right foot, we have someone who brings positivity everywhere she goes.
Hi, Duke. This week, I want us all to take a moment and think about gratitude. Gratitude is noticing the good things around you, even on tough days. It's in the friends who check in on you, the teachers who support you, the staff who keep our school running, and the small moments that make you smile. When we choose to focus on what we're grateful for, it changes how we feel and how we treat the people around us. So this week, try to show your gratitude in your actions. Say thank you, help someone else, compliment a classmate. Be the reason someone else feels appreciated today. I'm grateful for all of you and everything you bring to our school community.
Thank you. That's the perfect reminder that gratitude isn't just a thought. It's something we show in how we treat each other every day.
Alright, Dukes, it's time for a Duke Down. On November 25th, our 5th graders head to the YMCA pool. On December 5th, the choir holiday show-off for grades 6 to 12 takes place at 6 p.m. in Garber Auditorium. And on December 6th, our 7th and 8th grade band students will participate in a junior high solo and ensemble. Now for sports. On November 24th, volleyball plays the Swan Valley Vikings at home. On November 25th, wrestling takes on Ithaca, Alma, and Bridgeport at home, and volleyball travels to Alma. On November 26th, Thunder Hockey is away at Midland High. And on December 1st, Kramer Volleyball hosts Frankenmuth at home. Lots happening, Dukes, so stay involved and show your support.
Now it's time for a gratitude speed round. We give students 15 seconds to list as many things they're grateful for.
I'm grateful for my dad, I'm grateful for my mom, I'm grateful for the police department, I'm grateful for the fire department, I'm grateful for clothes, I'm grateful for food, I'm grateful for friends, I'm grateful for family. Ooh.
My dad, my family, my sisters, my teachers, my pencils, my room, my lights, my house, my grandma, my grandpa, my cousins, Zilla, family, friends, Sprunky, murder drones, Five Nights at Freddy's, music, Nightcore. I'm grateful for my mom, my dad, my grandpa, my friends, God, the Bible, TikTok, my phone, Roblox, food, Aubrey, Natalie, Lauren, Eden, Aaliyah, Riley, Ari.
Mom, dad, brother, sister, Jesus, God, the Bible, all books, Snickers, Kit Kats, Skittles, M&M's, Twix.
Tacos, nachos, my mom, my dad, my sister, my uncle, my aunt, my grandma, Aubrey, Lydia, her.
And I'm grateful for you for watching this right now. Short, sweet, and full of gratitude. That's the way it should be. And now it's time for something really special. Kids have created our own gratitude pep talk. Hi, I'm Kinsley, and here's our official gratitude pep talk. The world gets better when you get grateful. Be thankful for the big things, as family and friends. Be thankful for the weird things, like Wi-Fi that actually works. And be thankful for the little things, like when your pencil isn't break in the middle of a test. Gratitude is like glitter. When you throw it around, it sticks to everybody. So spread some to them. Say thank you, smile, hold the door, compliment someone. The world needs more grateful people. And it starts with you.
Up next, we've got a video that fits perfectly with our theme. This one is from the Kindness 101 series, and it's called Kindness 101, a lesson in gratitude. Take a look.
Good morning and welcome to Kindness 101. This, of course, is my daughter, Meryl.
Hi everyone. Today's class is about gratitude. For definition, we go to my brother Emmett at the dictionary. Emmett.
Gratitude is a strong feeling of appreciation or thankfulness for someone or something.
You know, you guys are always grateful to your mom and me whenever we take you on vacation or buy you a gift or something. But it's interesting. You've never once showed your appreciation for the bathroom sink.
I bet I have once.
No, you've never thanked me for the sink.
If I'm to go around the house and say I'm thankful for this carpet and that table, it might take a while. You don't have enough time to show gratitude for everything in the world.
Yeah. Being grateful for the things we take for granted is hard for everyone. Fortunately, I have a story to help with that. This is a recent addition to our archive, but destined to become a lifelong teaching tool for finding gratitude.
What may look like a house to you is something much more magnificent to the boy inside.
What did you think when you saw this place for the first time?
We said it's second heaven.
Second heaven?
Yes. You pass through this before you go to the big heaven. That is what I believe so.
He means that, literally. And why wouldn't he? Abraham and his brother James are from Sierra Leone. They were homeless before finding their way to an orphanage and eventually to their new family outside Charlotte, North Carolina. Joe and Jamie Walker adopted them last year, and they say the boys have been wide-eyed with wonder ever since.
It's fun. Every little thing that we take for granted. Hit the button to open our front gate.
Everything is magic to them. It's magic.
Whether it's a present just showing up on Christmas morning, or something mundane, like a car wash, the kids are constantly blown away. But the biggest surprise came on Abraham's birthday.
You had birthdays before you came here. How did you celebrate them?
That would be a crazy question.
Why is that a crazy question?
I never celebrated and never knew it was my birthday.
So when the song started and his mom appeared with that glowing tribute, Abraham was overwhelmed.
When I see the cake, I thought that is the most beautifulest thing I've ever seen.
Birthday cake.
It's not just a birthday cake. It's a blessed cake.
A blessing cake. And what a blessing it is that once a year, friends and family gather just to honor our existence. Most of us take that for granted, but not in this house. Not anymore.
Just being reminded that we need to stop and be super grateful for what we do have.
A good wish for America from this American dream come true.
The boy who single-handedly renamed the birthday cake joins us now. Hello, Abraham.
Hello, sir.
When you blew out your candles, did you make a wish?
It's God to keep my family alive and protect them and shower them with more happiness in their lives.
Do you have any advice for people who look around their lives and can't seem to find much, if anything, to be grateful for?
There's always something to be grateful for. Even the moment that you're alive, you need to be grateful for that.
So even when you're homeless, one of the poorest people on the planet, you still found reason to be thankful?
Yes.
But it wouldn't seem to us like you would have anything to be thankful for.
The one thing that I was so thankful for is I never get sick.
You never got sick. And so you were thankful for your health, even when you were homeless.
Yeah.
A lot of people in this country, across the political spectrum, think that this country's going in the wrong direction. What are they missing?
Give me some gratitude. Appreciating what you have now, you always need to give thanks in each and every second, whatever you're doing.
Well, Abraham, thank you very much for the perspective that you've given to all Americans, and of course, we're very grateful that you joined us.
Thank you. Bye.
You know, for most of us, because we do take so much for granted, gratitude has to be a conscious effort. So here's a suggestion. This is something that we've done in our family. At the beginning of the day, take 10 pennies and put them in your left pocket.
Then spend the day actually looking for things that you're grateful for. Once you find one, move 1 penny from your left pocket into your right pocket.
And we guarantee at the end of the day, you'll have a lot more than a dime. Thanks for watching.
And don't forget to stay kind.
A little gratitude really does go a long way. Let's try to live that out today, Dukes.
Now it's time to recognize someone who really shows what it means to be a Duke. And to present our student of the week, here she is, Miss Kelly.
Shadow and I are very proud and pleased to nominate a student from our class, Adeline Thompson, for this week's Student of the Week. Adeline is a true expert at using all 5 of the Duke values. When it comes to being responsible, Adeline really shines. She consistently comes prepared to school and uses her class time wisely. When a classroom job needs to be done, especially cleaning up, Adeline is always the first to lend a hand without ever being asked. Adeline is a friend to everyone and has so much to be proud of. Keep up the great work, Adeline. All of your classmates, along with Shadow and I, are proud that you are the Student of the Week.
Thanks, Miss Kelly, and congratulations again, Adeline. You make Kramer proud.
What is your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Ribs and rice.
What are you grateful for? And what are you gonna want for this Christmas?
That's it for this week's gratitude episode.
In order to appreciate something or someone makes your day better.
Because gratitude doesn't just change your attitude.
It changed the people around you too.
Have a great week, Dukes, and happy Thanksgiving and Gratitude Week.
Outstanding, yeah.
Very nice job.
I know my kids come home and talk about it, so they're very excited to see what's on there, and one was included, and she was super excited, and then it was just lots of talk about your program, so excellent work.
Every single week. That's a pretty intensive, like you guys put a lot of time and energy into it. You can really see it shine through. It's amazing that you do that every week. That's crazy. There's a lot to it. Nice job.
I'm very proud of them. They work extremely hard. Every once in a while, we lose a day to a holiday, and we're a little worried about snow days here because all of a sudden they have to try to pack it all in. We've had one every single week except for I think the first week of school and our Thanksgiving are 2 days. Those are the only ones we've missed. We'll have 15 in by Christmas. So they're outstanding, and I'm extremely proud of this group. They've done great.
You can see how entertaining they are. So the kids, they look forward to these every week, you know.
They're very engaging.
Yeah.
And bringing in other students too that incorporate some excitement about it.
That's incredible that you can fit it all in.
Yeah, they're rock stars in the school. Yeah. Yeah.
What are the episodes? 15 minutes?
They're from 10 to 15 minutes, so the length will vary. We try to, since it is during an advisory time, we keep them, 15 minutes to cap them off, but a lot of students enjoy like doing them while we're doing our homework or watching them during our homework advisory.
Thank you all for coming. We're not going to do anything more exciting than that, so if you guys would like to leave, you're certainly welcome to go.
Thank you.
Mr. President, just also say I watch this every single Friday. I look forward to it every Friday. Calvin is a new addition. The year just started with Ethan, and Elijah, and Kinsley, so welcome. Calvin, I think this is your second or third episode now?
Second, third, fourth.
Yeah. The other three started out at the beginning of the year. It's come a long way. It's improved every single Friday, and it's something that I look forward to. I still think about one of the earlier episodes. They would ask just random questions to kids. What do you look forward to each day? The most common answer was 3 o'clock, which was this was the time. And then there was another question of the day, which would you prefer? No homework or more recess? The answer is no homework, but a number of kids still chose more recess. So they are very innovative, creative. Shout out to Mr. McMartin for working with the young people. When I go around Kramer, sometimes I can see them. I'm assuming they're not supposed to be in class, but they're always working. And you guys obviously do a great job of balancing this work, which is a lot, with your regular studies. So keep that up. I don't know what your future aspirations are, if any of you plan to be in journalism or media, but if you do, you definitely have the talent for it. And next up, Garber. Garber does a daily video report that I watch every single day as well. So I imagine when you guys go to Garber next year, hopefully I'll see some of you in that Garber daily production. So congratulations to you all. I watched last Friday's episode today. I love that you guys talked about diabetes awareness. So just a great job and keep up the great work.
You sound just like me. I have the same thing. That's why.
Mother.
All right, next item on the agenda is the first reading of the budget amendment. Dr. Lewis, I'm going to turn it over to you.
I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful Director of Finance. I will be the supporting cast here. Mr. Densky, if you want to kind of lead us off on the budget amendment?
Yes. Okay, so as we discussed last month, we're working on amending the budget as is normal for this time of year. We typically prepare, we have to prepare our first budget of the year prior to June 30th, the prior fiscal year. As we all know, that's a tough process in and of itself, but this year was especially tough since the state did not pass their budget until October. So it was a very, budgets are estimates, but it was very much an estimate. this year. We would typically prepare our first budget amendment December, January. As we get more information about the LEAs, as the state does. I still have, hoping for a little bit more information on some revenue items in the coming month. That's why this is the first reading. Hopefully we'll have some more solid information on some revenue items, which I'll get into in a moment. And then I will do a final amendment, obviously, in June, typically right before we present our first budget for the next school year. Just kind of, you guys should all have the budget in front of you. Does everybody have a copy? I know the first thing you're going to notice is that I have a very different format than what you're probably used to seeing. Just in the education and professional development classes I've taken, this was just a very, I thought, a very easy format to read. It gives you a little bit more detail without getting too far into the weeds. These are the major class codes the state has this report under. So we might have some bumps in the road, especially with the original budget to this first amendment, because of how Steve used to classify things versus how I'm putting them in this budget. But the highlights, looking at total revenue, we have an increase of revenue of almost $1.4 million from the original to the amended budget. Right off the bat, we're looking at $510,000 in the MIPSERS 147C, and everyone remembers that. That's the in and out retirement piece that the state basically says, like they literally give us a payment and they say pay the exact dollar amount out. Now this is an estimate. What I'm using is an estimate based on this year's wages. That number is probably going to change because the state bases it on last year's wages. So it's a moving target. It was a little hard to put into a budget. But that's in and out. That's, $500,000 right off the bat of the 1.4. Other areas that saw increases, our GSRP had carryover of $38,000 from last year. We also increased our students in the classroom from 16 to 18, so it's another $20,000. Some other areas are 31 AA, which we talked about in the Finance Committee. We did have rollover funds in 31 AA as well, carryover I should say. And then also the $147 per pupil allocation that we have there. Our at-risk funding, that increased significantly. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my notes here. Over $361,000 increase in at-risk funding. That's based on students that qualify for at-risk services. The per pupil allocation increased on that. We also had a couple surprises since last month, actually, with the prior year adjustment revenue. Again, another MIPSERS or the retirement funds. They gave us a little more that doesn't have to have a matching expense. It's to help us with that expense of just shy of $42,000. And then also 27L2, the MIPSERS healthcare offset, again, another piece of revenue that it's to help with the rising cost of healthcare for districts, $118,000 in increased revenue there. Sorry, can you go back one? I think I might have missed one. We also had, was it 18,000?
18,000.
18,000 in CTE funding. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I covered that. So then looking at expenses, we saw an increase in expenses of almost $900,000. Again, right off the bat, you have the matching, the revenue increases for GSRP, I get all my acronyms. The 147C, the retirement in and out. So right off the $900,510 for the 147C is those matching, it has to match my revenue, just like the GSRP, the increase in GSRP, my GSRP expenses have to match my revenue. So you're looking at 600 of it right there in expenses. We have a partial year of the new principal at the elementary level, and then the position at the board office as well. That's another $130,000 for the partial year this year. A couple other items, the original budget did not include funds for Chromebooks. That was, I added another 120,000. It's traditionally been about 100, and we know that everything is rising in cost. So that pretty much accounts for most of that $900,000 increase expenses. So looking at our original budget, which I know everybody was really very nervous to see back in June, of an $870,000 deficit. Given the work that we've done and then the changes in the revenue, and as we understand more what the year is going to look like, we're looking at closer to a $376,000 deficit, which is, we 57% drop in that deficit. I did want to point out that of that $376,000, $84,000 is one-time spending related to cell tower funds. So if you look at an operating deficit, so like what it takes to keep the school running, an operating deficit, we're closer to $290,000 in a deficit. We were able to increase our fund balance last year by over $700,000. We're trying to make steps to improve in so many areas. I'm excited to see where we're going. There will be a couple other changes that come up. Again, hopefully I will have the information by next month so that we can pass the complete budget, but there's a couple items that will be in and out, so it's not going to change necessarily that bottom line, but we all know that it has to be in the budget in order for us to spend the money. It has to be in the budget. The 27L, might have gotten my 2 and 4 mixed up, but there's this one's 2.
Yep.
So I called it the wrong one on the last one. Was the 4 was the healthcare cost one. This one's 27L2 for teacher compensation. That's money coming from the state that we will, educator compensation actually is what it's called. We will have to bargain with our staff and figure out how that'll be, how we'll pay it out. It'll be an in and out. And then also the Filter First grant, which the work has been done. We're just starting to see the invoices come in for that, and then it's a reimbursement grant, so once we pay that out, we'll get that revenue in. That was about a little over $100,000. We got $99,000 from the grant. The difference is covered from sinking fund. That allowed us to do a lot of improvements with our drinking fountains and drinking sources of water in the schools. So that was a lot of information, very quickly. Do we have another one? I have another slide, sorry. So next steps, I did forget to also mention those other 2 funds. We still are waiting on information for 31AA. I think everybody kind of knows that, where things are really up in the air. Also, we will as a district try for the competitive grant portion, and hopefully, be able to use some of those funds. Our schools could use some updates to security and safety. We also will have carryover funds from Title II and Title IV. I don't have those amounts yet, but those for sure, I know we should have by next month. 31AA is kind of up in the air. We'll see how that goes. We will have a finance committee January 12th, again prior to the board meeting, and have the final run through hopefully for this budget amendment, and have a final first amendment for the board. Now, does anybody have any questions? Sorry, I missed my last slide. I know it's a lot to look at, and if anybody wants to have a conversation one-on-one, I would be more than happy to do that. It's a little, again, things were moving between buckets and how things were presented, so it was kind of, we had a discussion about that, trying to explain where some of those shifts happened and stuff.
I know I've asked this question before and I forgot already, but as Dr. Lewis pointed out, Board of Education is a volunteer position. What is the money that's budgeted for Board of Education? What is that?
That was a question that was brought up today. You think I'm gonna remember the answer to it?
Do you know how many questions I asked today, Paul? You would be impressed. It even exceeded math level questions.
So that covers.
29,000 of it was.
Questions?
Huh?
You have that many questions?
No. But 29,000 of that was just our audit, our financial audit of the 50.
So it goes to like Board of Education Services, so, or dues for MASB.
Yeah.
Board members sometimes go to conferences, that's covered. I believe some legal fees might be there as well, or is it, no, or retreat fees, are covered there, so.
Yeah, it's any, what do I say, workshops, conferences that you guys might go to,
Yeah.
the dues and fees.
So it's just administrative fees to have the board operate. So it's not salary, it's not in-kind services or anything, it's just things that the board need to operate. Does that answer your question?
Anyone else have questions?
I like the new format. This is easy for what I prefer to see, so.
Yeah, and if anybody has any questions, I mean, I'd be, like I said, happy to talk to you or send me an email if you have questions about, like what Paul just asked, about what's included in one of the line items, you know, I'd be happy to break it down, but, you know, trying to give you guys a little more information or enough information, but without, if you saw my spreadsheet, you'd probably just close your computer and not even.
I would just say 3 or 4 key highlights, takeaways. The top line, headline is based on the budget amendment, the projected deficit is down 57%, right? And that's something to be recognized, celebrated. Certainly for me, coming in as a new superintendent, I was not expecting that amount, was certainly anxiety ridden, so I'm glad that we're in a much better place than we were just 6 months ago. The second kind of key highlight headline is there's still some funds out there that we don't know yet what that will be. So that current 397 could look a lot smaller in the next 3 months once we get those rollovers from Title II, Title IV, 31A, in particular the competitive grant piece. The next key highlight that's out there that we ended last year with a budget surplus of close to $800,000. So, you know, we are in a position to absorb some of the deficit for this year and still increase our fund balance, given the balance carryover from last year. So I would say those are kind of like the three main headlines, and then certainly I will do everything that I can for next year's budget to make sure that we pass a zero balance budget and not a deficit budget as we did for this past year. But we are making progress, so I do want to shout out, acknowledge Ms. Jerzinski for her hard work. She and I have had lots of conversations about the template, what needs to be included, what things need to be involved. So we've made a lot of progress. So thank you, Ms. Jerzinski, for all your hard work.
Thank you for your partnership. I appreciate the support. Dr. Lewis, you guys all know that I just took this over and not a lot of historical things, and he's been a great support. He's done this, obviously. So, you had a question?
Just on the GSRP, that really increased a lot. Did we have an increase in enrollment for GSRP?
They increased the slots to 18 students.
Okay.
Yep, from 16. So that alone is another 21,000. We did have a lot of carryover, almost 40,000 in carryover. But we're going to get into some extra support in the classroom, and they have plans. So great team in there.
Next up is the Neola Fall update. We talked about this a little bit earlier in our policy procedures. Thank you.
It's your favorite part of the day.
It is. Lewis, is there anything you'd like to add in regards to this?
No, sir, this is entirely you, Mr. President.
All right.
If you would like to say rescind, we do not have to do a second reading of this rescinded ones.
All right, but I am reading off all these highlighted numbers, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, well then I will make the motion to approve the Neola policies P022102266, 2412, 4162, 5517.01, 7540.02, a rescind of 7541, a rescind of 4122.02, 4123, and a rescind of 4362.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Broski.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Russia.
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Levine. Yes. Sandsburn.
Yes.
6 yes.
Next item is the replacement of the school boards for football and baseball. Again, we talked about this in policy and procedure, we talked about this in building and grounds, and I'm sure it was discussed not at all in finance?
No, I'm kind of disappointed, actually.
That's because there is no financial impact to the district.
Well, so, I mean, here's my 2 cents. It didn't come up in the finance committee. If we're using cell phone towers, like I feel like we need to come up with a plan. I thought.
Wait, I'm sorry. We're talking about. I stand corrected. Sorry, so I was thinking of something else.
So here's my scoop. I think we've talked about before that we need to have some guardrails because it feels like if the first person to come to us every time we just say yes to. I get the scoreboards are in super repair, but that cell phone tower is going to be gone in the blink of an eye, and then we're still going to have lots of projects to work on and stuff. So, not that this isn't a great, but my perspective is at some point we need to have it's going to be gone. So, do we want to be proactive in looking for how we want to spend it, or set guardrails for future, or is it just as things come up we just say yes? And if that's the case, that is what it is. But it feels like, we're every time we talk about it, after we make a commitment to someplace, we say we're going to create guardrails for when and how and plans for it, and then we spend it.
I support the scoreboards. However, I do feel like Bush and Varela have been significantly neglected in the benefit of the cell phone tower money. But I don't know what they need. So if they would come forward and say, this is what we need for our school, can we use cell phone tower money for it? Just want to make sure that all of our buildings are impacted positively from the cell phone tower money. So, and that's been, I feel like I'm riding that horse all along, but can we get a new piece of playground equipment? Is there something that they need in the building that would be of value to the kids?
And just as a reminder, I'm sorry, but you guys did allocate 50,000 for each building.
Have they used it yet?
So Bush, they both bought some kind of rough logo or something that was like, $3,500. Bush is spending about half, 25 on their sign, the like electronic sign.
For the front.
For the front, yep. Varela has not. So I just want to put it out there, you guys have allocated that money.
They're still getting something.
But we haven't gotten a request unless we haven't gotten anything from Varela. Yeah, so, I just want to put that out there. Also, I can update that sheet that I gave you guys for the cell tower, but, we made a decision in finance last month, I believe, to pay, we're kind of putting some of the stuff on the back, because we can use sinking fund for architects.
I support the scoreboards.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're glitching out and they're
They're
right.
an eyesore right now.
Well, not only that, but I think we were at a game and we had to stop the game so they could reset
That's embarrassing.
the scoreboard. So look, I get it, but at the same time, just perspective that, I don't know, maybe on one, or there's a whole separate, maybe we create like anytime a request comes in, we have a committee that meets to review specifically cell phone towers, so that it's like, hey, we use the same consistent guardrails and it's the same committee.
just throwing an idea out there, but it's a super cool thing we have, but I'm afraid it's gonna be gone, and then what is our plan for after that?
I know you've mentioned it before. What is the balance in the cell phone tower right now?
It was 186,000 before
the allocation.
That was uncommitted.
Yeah, it was uncommitted before.
Then I
this
took
45.
83.5 back.
Yeah.
Back.
That'd be 270 minus this 45,000, so 235 after this 45,000 if we pass it.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a lot of money, and so I feel like we should be pretty strategic about that remainder, so that it's, I mean, I'm looking at this room and there's tiles missing on the ceiling. I mean, like, we can pick so many different projects. It's out landscaping for our building. I mean, you could pick all kinds of really impactful stuff, and it'd be really nice to have a reflection of like, hey, this was something that the board actively made a huge commitment on. So, just perspective. I mean, I support the scoreboards. I get the need, but it's again a chance to talk about this discussion and be thoughtful on the future use of it.
I think one of the challenges or considerations is the flexibility of having the fund and not necessarily being committed, is that when push comes to shove, we can move things around. So potentially these missing tiles or landscaping or some of those other projects could be paid for through sinking fund, because those are facilities, landscaping, upkeep type of projects, potentially. Versus the cell tower funds allows us more flexibility. So like we wouldn't be able to pay for the scoreboards out of sinking fund, but we could pay for it here. So I certainly agree that we want to be strategic, but going back to the budget earlier, being able to sometimes move things around and having that money there if push comes to shove, we can, if we can't pay for something out of general fund, we can say, okay, we can pay for it out of this, is helpful. So, you know, as long as we're being equitable in making sure all schools get some of the funds, I think that's important. But potentially, I would caution us to not necessarily commit 100% of it, because it does give us some flexibility when needed. And I don't know, for example, if we didn't have that fund right now, that we would be able to replace the scoreboards, and we all agree that it is something that needs to be done, because we wouldn't be able to do it with sinking fund, and certainly our general fund is already tight.
So I guess my challenge would be, if we didn't have this fund, would we have been resourceful and found other solutions, or are we taking the easy way out because we have it? And that's the questions we need to ask. Like some of it, yeah, like we have these parents gaming and they're raising money and it's amazing. They're helping cut that cost. If we didn't just say yes, would they be able to come up with the incremental funds or more of it? Or are we giving in, not necessarily easy out, but just something to think about and consider again.
And they have raised the $12,000, and they're having an event in May that is raising money for this again as well.
Isn't that number supposed to be 62,000? That's what they gave.
No, it's 69, so I'm rounding it to 70.
69.
But we expect that when all the fundraising is done, that they should raise about 25. They already have about 12. They're asking GAA for some contribution, and they have this big event, a bazaar on May 3rd. I saw it earlier today. I think maybe 100 or so vendors and organizations will be there. All the proceeds, all the vendor fees, all the proceeds will go directly to this. So the district, we will spend $69.70, but the fundraising will offset the cost of the district to the tune of about $25,000. And certainly if they've raised more than 25, we're not gonna not take it. But if we didn't have the cell tower fund, I don't know that we'd be able to cover the cost of it right now in the way that we are, because we wouldn't be able to pay for it with sinking fund. And as I said, general fund is not an option. Yeah. So having that fund allows us the flexibility where even if we can quote unquote afford something, we can do this right now and then make up for it in the future because the money is readily available. So that's also one of the benefits, if that answered your question.
For sure, and I just know like an example is they needed a weight room and they used that golf outing, right? So there's examples where they come, and I get it, and I'm not trying to say no to this, I just want to have a plan in place to be thoughtful and good stewards, because it is a really cool opportunity we have, and I just don't want it to see it go away every time someone asks for something. So have some guardrails or some kind of thoughtfulness that goes into it besides just saying yes to because every opportunity we have is a great one, right? Like there's people who put time, energy, and thought into it, and I just want to make sure that we're paying attention to those details as well.
So I'll draft some administrative guidelines for how folks can make request of cell phone tower dollars. So I'll draft some administrative guidelines, and we can certainly discuss that at the next finance committee meeting, so that those guardrails are in place.
Or have like a review process or
Yes, that will be included in the administrative guidelines.
It seems to me that we do review.
Yeah,
At the board meetings.
At the
Like,
board
we're
meetings,
not
yeah.
just like,
'Cause
here's
before-
$100, here's
Yeah,
$100.
before this, I think the last one that we approved was the band uniforms.
Yeah, and like the band uniforms.
Yeah, these are
It was
kind
a
of
big
like.
presentation from them, we had
Yeah.
thoughtful discussion around
Yeah,
it, they presented different
they're
options.
kind of like, monumental investments.
Correct.
That are outside of the guardrails. Like the
Yeah.
band uniforms they tried to raise for 10
Yeah.
years and were
Yeah.
unsuccessful, but they made a valiant effort.
And I discussed with folks who are heading up the scoreboard committee, I asked them to come and present to us and just like give a picture of what they're thinking, or, I haven't seen that yet,
Yeah.
that would be helpful.
For sure.
I think it's just been turfed to Mr. Schwartz, and
The bleachers in Kramer and Garber and things
yep,
like that.
we
or
had a
the-
lot of presentations
yeah,
on
or
those and
the-
cost analysis.
The kind of seed money for the innovation center.
Yeah, and I think,
they're just.
I think
it's
that's
all-
what the difference is this one is the first time we haven't had that type of presentation, right? And that passion behind it, maybe that's why this one feels like it feels like it's on a whim versus something that every other one we've discussed for multiple board meetings and had like a thoughtful, drawn out, and this one feels like it came in and was rushed through versus the thoughtful, every scenario and.
It's just nice to see what we're spending our money on.
Yeah, and again, I'm not against it, it's just something about this felt different, and I think that's when we talked it through, that's what feels different, is we've had the presentations and thoughtfulness.
There hasn't been.
They did come to buildings and grounds.
Yeah.
I will say from like how the process for us getting here was board members bringing it to my attention. I up until probably a month ago didn't even know that we had a parent group out there that had raised $12,000. So a few board members brought it to my attention. I spoke with our athletic director about it, was made aware that there was this effort going on. I talked about kind of where we were in the process, and some individual board members, in bringing it to my attention, said, "Hey, is it time for us to just go ahead and give them a helping hand and have this move forward?" And so, after speaking with the athletic director, I said, "Sure, let's have you come to the Buildings and Grounds Committee, plead your case to the Buildings and Grounds Committee, and then Buildings and Grounds would be the one to make the recommendation to the board." So we had Buildings and Grounds Committee, Mr. Schwartz came, we talked about it, and I felt at that point that we had the go-ahead from Buildings and Grounds. I will fully own and apologize that I didn't recognize that in previous usage or allocations of cell tower funds that there were series of presentations to the board. I followed what I thought would be the best process, which is you come to the committee and then the committee would make the recommendation.
No, I think what you did was absolutely fine as well too, and I think by going forward, I think, what Matt is saying, kind of, if you have some administrative guidelines, I think I'm fully on board with what Ms. Levine is saying, is that I think we've done a good job in terms of, as a board as a whole, kind of debating the merits of the spending that we've done. So I think that,
Yeah, it just, and I'm probably stirring the pot for no, and I just wanted to make sure that we're you know, this one just seemed like it wasn't something that we had talked about for an extended period of time, and I'm all good, especially since you guys talked about building grounds, like just bringing it up.
Do I have a motion to approve the replacement of the scoreboards for football and baseball as presented?
I motion to the Building and Grounds Committee for the recommendation of the approval of the replacement of the baseball and football scoreboards, and authorize the superintendent to proceed with issuing an RFP for these replacements.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Rochelle?
Yes.
Neary?
Yes.
Levine?
Yes.
Borowski?
Yes.
Stansberg?
Yes.
6 yes. O'Neill? 6 yes. 5 yes?
Yes.
Now 6 yes.
I answer when I get called on.
We now need to adjourn into closed session. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
I will motion to go into closed session for the purpose of superintendent annual evaluation.
Support.
Moved and supported. I just want to add that the support will also be included in that, and everyone else, you can step out. We'll shut the door when we open the door back up. If you have comments, you're welcome to come back in at that time. We got to vote on that. Yeah, we have a motion. We have discussion.
Folks.
Yes.
Yes.
Levine.
Yes.
Borowski?
Yes.
O'Neill?
Yes.
6 yes.
Yes.
Stansberg?
Yes.
6 yes.
Are we back on? Are we recording again?
Good here.
Yes.
I have another copy of it.
Do you need this first?
I have them.
Do I have a motion to approve the superintendent's evaluation for 2025 as presented? With an effective 2.55 score.
I'll make a motion to approve the superintendent's evaluation for 2025 of 2.55 and effective.
Support.
Moved and supported. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Neary?
Yes.
Levine?
Yes.
Borowski?
Yes.
O'Neill?
Yes.
Rochelle?
Yes.
Stansberg?
Yes.
6 yes.
Any statements from the public at this time?
I guess, hello, my name's Austin.
I'm sorry, I just want to remind you, you have 5 minutes to present whatever you have. That's
I
okay.
doubt it won't be that long.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi there, my name is Austin Butterfield. I am the new 10th grade English teacher over at Garber, and I've been filling in for the empty position, and I just wanted to stop by and say my hellos. I've seen a couple of you in passing, just because I've been over at Garber assistant directing with Mr. Helmer for the last couple of years. So like I see some familiar faces, but happy to be here, and if you ever need me or anything, I'm here. Nice to meet you.
Incredible dedication to stay to the very end.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Perseverance with a Duke value.
Yeah, Duke values all the way. Thank you, Austin.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I don't typically do this, but I wanted this public. I am so proud of our district. I am so proud of the mindfulness and the watching. When Pat sent me that maybe a couple months ago and watching their program at Kramer and watching what they feed into these kids every single week, the positivity and we're starting that at such a young age with music and mindfulness, and what Sarah Shinjek is doing at a young age, and to think, what if we weren't doing that? And so everything we're feeding into them from the bottom up, and I'm looking at my kids in high school now, and everything that Brooke Cunningham is doing, she is phenomenal as a 31F counselor. She's so great. Stacey Abbs is so great. And now that I'm McKinney Bento liaison and watching what we're doing in that aspect and the needs that are out there and how we're meeting all of those needs, I'm just so proud of us. And I wanted to say that because we're killing it.
Thank you.
I think we have to.
Yeah. We are. Anyone else? Statements from the board? I motion to adjourn at 7:45 p.m. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, same.